Good evening. This is Rhonda from Hamden Action Now, when we are talking tonight to Reverend Vanessa Brown. She is an owner at the Pine Rock condominiums here in Hamden, and she reached out to me to tell me her story about her property, where she basically owns a property that has a crumbling foundation. She can't sell it because in its condition, obviously, really no one would want to buy it in that condition. She also owes back common charges, and they have her in legal for that, which is hilarious because when you watch our video tonight, you'll see that there is very little work, nothing really being done on the property. So we're going to talk to Reverend Brown shortly, and then we're going to go right into a video I took. I went out to visit her home, took some pictures and video, and it'll be really enlightening. We're hoping that if there's anybody in the state of Connecticut that can watch this video and help Reverend Brown and the owners over there at Pine Rock condominiums, that would be very helpful. So stay tuned. I'm going to have Reverend Brown join us shortly. Reverend Brown, how are you this evening? I hope you're doing well.
I am doing well. I have a few health issues, but I'm doing well.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you tonight, and I'm happy to share your story because, after we talked and I came over and visited your home, it was pretty shocking. And I mean, really, when you told me you reached out to everybody, Mayor Garrett, George Cabrera, I contacted George Cabrera myself. He called me right back and said, there was really nothing he can do. I mean, there's really no legislator. So I'm looking for banks. I'm looking for developers. I'm looking for, community folks or anyone out there that can help your situation. I don't know if it's okay if I share your medical condition, but I know you're battling breast cancer, which is also something is traumatic and really tiring and exhausting and going through treatment. And you're dealing with that on top of, on the brink of having to go to court and deal with the legal, battle to try to keep your home. Because right now, like you said, your home is in jeopardy. If the judge or the court finds that that you would have to pay those charges or you'd have to vacate. So it's a lot you have going on, Reverend. So I want to share your story. So I want to have us get backstage, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the video that I took when I came out to your house, and then we could talk after. Okay, it's about 20 minutes or so. All right.
That would be fine. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stand by for this video. Talking to Pastor Vanessa Brown. She's an owner at the Pine Rock condominiums here in Hamden. She's going to tell us her story about her crumbling foundation of her condo that she can't even sell at this point. And then the add insult to injury, how she's being evicted for common charges. Take a look at her story. This is unit 3. We have a leaking ceiling going on here. Come on. You have cracks. So yeah, we have the settling. That's what's causing the cracks. You see that crack there?
Exactly. Well, there's a whole bunch of cracks from the basement to the top floor.
Yeah, that crack is because of the settling that's happening in the actual foundation.
And I have cracks starting on that side over there. Just starting, you can see the outline.
Leaking ceiling from the roof that needs to be replaced.
That's going away from the foundation.
Yeah.
More cracks.
Yeah. Well,
How you feeling? Are you feeling pretty good?
You know, I'm hanging in there. I'm trying not to stress. I have something from the court that's in the mail. I'll see what this is. I don't know.
So the pipes have shifted because
Yes.
of the foundation that's
That's
moving.
correct.
Wow. Wow.
You know.
A lot of deferred maintenance, management's come here, taken over a lot of your properties.
Yes.
You're the owners.
Yes,
Let me see what else you got going on here. You got a lot going on here.
I do.
And then, you know, you have common charges that people are paying for capital improvements and, you know, like I took video of your roof leaking. I got video of the crumbling foundation. I got video of all sorts of things going on.
Yes.
And so nobody. So who have you talked to, and what?
When this was brought to our attention back in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
I contacted Mayor Kurt Lang and Representative Rosa DeLauro.
Mm.
Rosa DeLauro sent me a letter saying she's going to refer back to Hamden, but she will try to help get funding if it's through HUD,
Mm-hmm.
whatever way she could help us. And Kurt Lang never responded.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, the board president at the time, who was Curtis Green,
Mm-hmm.
contacted Representative Robin Porter and Mr. Croup from the town of Hamden.
Mm-hmm.
And so they came, we had many meetings with them. They were talking about maybe paying us out of our mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe just condemning everything, since we already have about 2 units on this side that have already been condemned.
Oh wow.
And so it was a flowing talk, and then everything just kind of stopped. I know that Dale Croup left the town of Hamden. I am still in contact with Representative Robin Porter, who has been on my property many times. After that, our management company, who was First Place Management, the owner died.
Mm.
So they were no longer involved in anything.
Mm.
Then came Norman Properties.
Mm.
So when Norman Properties came along, they never even talked about Crumbling Foundation. They've never contacted me. They've never been in my home. They've never seen everything from the top of the condo to the bottom in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
They've never reached out to me, but they do have me in court right now for foreclosure because of the fact that I have not paid common charges. Well, the reason I have not paid them is because I have been spending money for plumbers,
Mm-hmm.
for electricians, because this has been an ongoing problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've had ceiling problems, as you have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get things fixed. All this is coming out of my pocket.
Right.
So I am not a rich woman. I'm on a fixed income. Plus I am battling breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that going on, I'm just trying to make it from one day to the next.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the town of Hamden again. They said Walter Morton. Walter Morton came. He had a meeting. I was not able to come to that meeting because I had to have surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So what was really discussed from what I was told is that they're going to try to figure out how to help us with this situation. We never heard from him again.
Mm-hmm.
And then from what I understand, he was in South Africa on some type of military duty.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody was ever notified that he left, nothing. So after that, I contacted Representative Robin Porter again because I was getting desperate. She came to my home. She sat down. She was involved in this from the very beginning. We talked. She says, I understand. She said, I'm going to try to do whatever I can do. And I had reached out again to the town of Hamden.
Mm-hmm.
I had reached out to the mayor, who is now Mayor Lauren Garrett, numerous times. She would not respond.
Mm.
I sent numerous emails, no response. She sent out the building inspector, his name was Carlos Sarmiento. And they contacted the first engineer that was involved when the Crumbling Foundation started, Tom Torrenti. And so they came to my home, they looked, and Tom was like, well, you know, yeah, you got problems. If it's not fixed, it's only gonna get worse.
It's only gonna get worse.
And so with all that being said, Carla went on the fact that my property was not condemned. That's the only thing, but what Tom was saying is that if it's not fixed, it's a possibility it could be condemned any day.
Right, right.
So finally, I had to sit down with the Mayor Garrett, and Sean, who I believe is her aide, or he's something with her administration. And so the first thing she said, all the things that you talked about with all the people from the town of Hamden, they told you a lie. We're not doing anything. We're not responsible. We don't have any liability. But they were the ones that permitted the landfill to happen in order for me to get the end results of the Crumbling Foundation. But she says they have no responsibility at all. And as far as she was concerned, case closed. She said she would help Representative Robin Porter, write a letter, but I don't understand why the town of Hamden has no responsibility when it was permitted by the town of Hamden. So with all that being said, that was our last meeting. That was the only time that she reached out to me. Other than that, she totally ignored me.
Wow.
So here I sit. I had Senator Jorge Cabrero come to my home. He looked from the basement to the top, to the garage, even out to Unit 8 that's sitting up on Center Block. He said, I'll give you a call that following Monday. I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. I wrote the Democratic Town Committee. Nobody reached out. Then Senator Cabrero called me and said, I'm working with Representative Porter on the bill, and because of your legal issues, there's nothing we can do about that. You're just gonna have to deal with that. But I'm working with Representative Porter. Now, I spoke to Representative Porter. She says, I don't know anything about all this. I know she's working on things.
Right.
But I have not heard another thing from him as well. So, I'm in this place where I feel like nobody hears my voice. I've been fighting this battle for 12 years. I'm trying to stay healthy. And this has been so difficult for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I have cried. I have lost a lot of money. I have no equity in this. My condo went from $150,000 value to $33,000. There's no equity. Nobody will buy this. They'll say, oh, we'll buy it as soon as they come look at it. Oh, we can only offer you 33. Or they'll say, oh, I'll buy it, but then if they want an inspection, this cannot pass the inspection.
It doesn't pass, yeah. You gotta get financing.
Exactly. So I'm stuck with probably nowhere to go. I may even have been up being homeless.
And that's when my job kicks in, because my job in life is to make sure you don't become homeless. That's why I wanted you to try to see what my home CT can do for you, because then that program's designed to try to prevent people who are homeowners from being homeless, which, we'll just play that out and see what happens. But we don't want people homeless, especially in your condition.
I have been praying. I have reached out to so many people, and I feel totally let down. Until today, the board here at the condominium didn't even know what was going on with my home. One person came, Karina came today, and she said, oh my God.
When you come in, you were like, okay.
And the thing is, she said, this on you for $20,000. This is way more than $20,000 worth of damage in here.
Yeah.
Way more. And it's every day the damage is going up in value. And so I am just in a place where I feel like everybody's turned their back on me. We don't care, not our responsibility. But this was the interesting factor in all of this. In the Simsbury area, there was Crumbling Foundation. They said it was something with the cement, I'm not really sure. So, the state paid for homes and for condos.
Wow.
Now, we have been here trying to get made whole by the state, and we got nothing. There's no more money left to give us a dime.
I wonder why is that?
I don't
And
know.
why you all didn't know about it?
Well, we were told initially that they were not going to do anything with condos, because that's another thing that people keep saying. Well, you know, when you live in a condo, we can't do anything. You know, you're an owner, we can't do anything. But this is property that I paid for in good faith. I can't even pass this along to my son because it has no value.
Right.
So when I found out about Simsbury, I went back to Representative Robin Porter, and she was under the impression that they were not paying for condos, but they did. So now they've taken all the money and used it in that area, who don't have people that look like us, brown, red, black. They're sitting well with their crumbling foundations. Meanwhile, 12 years going on 13 years, I'm still fighting.
Yeah. So we need to look into that, because I've never heard of that program, but I'm sure it exists.
It exists.
Yeah. I'm sure it's out there.
It's there.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you're going through all this. And I wanted to meet you. I know you reached out, and I wanted to come to some videos so I can see if there's anybody out there that has any kind of resources that can help you and this community. That would be great. I'm going to go take some video of the community on the outside, because even the outside of the property needs work.
Yes.
Needs a lot of work. But you know, once you fall behind on the work, it gets more, it gets more extensive. It gets more expensive.
Exactly.
Those two things automatically happen.
Exactly. They were talking about condemning these, and that means.
But then where do you go though?
Exactly.
How many
So
units is it?
that's when they were talking about paying us out of our mortgages, and then giving us money to go and find another home to live in. But that went nowhere.
Right, but who's going to do that?
That's it. Nobody wants to take the responsibility for it, so it's not going to happen.
Right. We're going to get creative. We got to figure it out, because you can't live. You obviously cannot live like this. This is dangerous, because you know the foundations, and it'll continue to settle to the point where it gets really hazardous.
Yes.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
So we're going to, I'll ask around, and we'll air our video. And we'll see who's out there in Connecticut that has some resources that can help you and the other owners here, because nobody needs to live like this, and we don't want anybody to end up homeless, especially in this market. Where are you going to go?
Exactly.
The rents are off the charts,
and the
house purchases are off the charts.
Yes.
Like, where can you go?
Exactly.
This is what I keep explaining to people. We're trying to keep people in wherever they're at, because there's nowhere else for anybody to go right now.
You're right.
Housing is off the charts, and we have a shortage.
Yes.
There's a shortage of housing. So where do you go if you have a situation like this? We should find a way to resolve this, so you all don't have to figure out where you're going to go. I mean, even if they cash you out, it's not going to be enough.
Exactly. Because I would say, in order for them to cash me out, we have to look at $250,000.
Right, because where do you go? I mean,
because
if they cash you out for $20,000, that's not even a down payment.
That's not even my mortgage. I would still owe all my mortgage.
Right.
So that would do nothing.
Yeah. So we have to figure this thing out. We got to figure it out. So I wanted to make sure we air it, and I'll send my link around to everybody saying, listen, you know of any program out there that's available in the state, or even if there's a federal program, anything through HUD, anything.
That's what Rosa DeLauro was speaking of, but nobody
ever got back.
No.
That's a shame. Well, let's see if we can track it down.
Works for me.
I'll track it down. I'll do what I can. Because like I said, my goal in life is to make sure nobody's homeless, especially not in Connecticut.
Exactly.
Do you know how wealthy Connecticut is?
Yes, I do.
You got 45 minutes away from where we're sitting right here. There's people that are worth over $1 billion.
Exactly right.
Sitting in Greenwich, Connecticut.
That's right.
In Stamford, in North Stamford, Connecticut, and whatnot. In Westport, in Saugatuck, people sitting over there with several hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're sitting here in a home with a crumbling foundation. And literally your house is separating from itself to the point where the pipes are leaking up in the ceiling. And somewhere, somebody thinks that that's okay.
Exactly right.
Somehow y'all brought this on yourselves. Somehow.
Somehow.
You've brought it on yourself.
And
I disagree.
Too bad.
You bought a property, like you said, in good faith.
In good faith.
And when did you buy this property?
I bought my property in 1997, so I've been here 25 years.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Because there's no such thing as buying property in Connecticut there's no buying at your own risk. There's statutes that prevent that. I mean, you have to disclose what you're buying so the buyers are fully aware of what they're getting themselves into.
I also met with Eric Johnson along with Representative Robin Porter here at my home. Eric Johnson came and he was like, oh, well, what you just said, there's no such thing as having bad faith when you buy property. Well, he was saying, well, you take a chance. Oh, well, right. Too bad. And he went back to the mayor's office.
Well, Eric Johnson's clearly not familiar with the statute. The reason why I say that, I'm not too sure when that became law, but I'm going to track that down too. Because I'm curious that if there was some type of problem with this property when you bought it, was that disclosed? That would be interesting if it wasn't.
It wasn't, because like I said, somehow the town knew. There is an article in the New Haven Independent which was the original article about this whole situation once it came out about the Crumbling Foundation. The town knew, but the town didn't say anything. Then we had a condo president. She had found out. What she did is sold her condo and left and didn't tell us. So when we started seeing Unit 8, which is the last unit on the side that I live on, started tilting over, we said something is not right. And something definitely was not right.
Right.
Because had I known, I would have sold it.
Everybody would have sold it, got up out of here then. But I mean, see how horrible that is?
Yes.
All right, well, let's see what we can do. I'm really curious about that though. If you bought in 97, how much of this was disclosed? Not really specifically from the town, but more specifically from the folks you bought it from, either the private owner or the developer who built this. Somebody had to disclose the potential issue that you all were facing. They had to.
Somebody had to know something.
Right.
But I know when I brought it and I knew who the owner was, she never said, I don't even know if she knew or she may have known and not said anything, don't know.
Yeah.
And the builder is no longer in existence from what they tell me.
Yeah, that's fine though. That's okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Let's keep talking.
We will.
Keep talking. I'm so glad to meet you.
I'm glad
this is bad. I'm telling you, I was like, wow. It's all separating. And
yes.
Pipes and, oh my God.
Yes. And I put a lot of work in here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The floors are amazing. Everything's beautiful, but wow.
Yes.
The structure is problematic.
Very much so.
Wow.
Very much so.
All right. All right. This is unit number 8. That's over here being kind of held up. As you can see, let's zoom in a little bit closer. It's all kind of leaning, run down, and that's a shame. Yeah. Wow, look at the holes. Wow.
Pastor Brown, Reverend Brown.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know what to say. Every time I watch that, I'm like, sheesh,
I have cried so much. I look at what I don't have anymore, and it hurts. And some people say, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. Well, it wasn't that easy to make decisions. I couldn't get another condo because I already held a mortgage. So they were not going to give me 2 mortgages. There were talks that were positive. They were even talking about condemning this place, which it really needs to be condemned.
Yeah.
They didn't follow, nobody followed through with that. Then when you go to persons, I've even recently reached out to the governor. I've reached out to the attorney general's office, and no one has gotten back to me. I reached back out to Rosa DeLauro, but she in the beginning had gotten back to me. I just have not been able to touch bases with her at this point. Representative Robin Porter, she has reached out to me, and we have been working continuously. You have reached out to me and have given me ways to try to, at least for a little while, remedy the problem. But
Yeah.
the problem still exists. And I'm not a rich woman. I worked hard
Right.
for what I have. I never asked anybody for anything. I worked many days overtime. I got sick 3 times while I've been here, cancer related 3 times. And it hurts. It seems like people think because they're not living it, it doesn't exist.
Right.
But when I started writing the mayor, I told her, I said, think about living in a place where there's cracks, new cracks being developed every day. You don't know if your pipes are going to give away at any moment. You don't know if your roof is going to fall in at any moment. You don't know if your porch is going to sustain you at any moment. You don't know if your garage is going to crash and fall at any moment. It's like living in a battlefield with no weapons. And every time I think about it, it does make me cry a little bit. But I have to fight. I don't know anything else to do. I have nothing to really fight with. There was an article that was written again in the New Haven Independent about this whole situation. Some people are like negative, well, you should have. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you're not living in this. So it's easy for you to say what I should have. Now come and sit in my shoes for a moment and then tell me what I should have done.
Right.
I can't afford an attorney. Nobody has reached out to me about pro bono. Then I've had a lot of attorneys when I was looking at one point was saying, well, it's a condo, so it's different. You have the board, you have this, you have that. So it's like I'm knocking on the door, but nobody's answering.
Yeah. I mean, I see. There's one part of that video that always there's some words that you said that really, really hit home. You said in 1997 you all bought this property in good faith, and you did. You know there was an offer to buy a property. You went there and you paid money. And see, I just have a hard time um, being okay. I don't know how people can be okay with the fact that like I said, you bought property in good faith. You did all of the things that you were supposed to do, and now people got paid to offer you something, and then they walk away with the money, and you all are left with something that has no value. And I don't understand why, like, the Department of Consumer Protection doesn't have a problem with this. I just can't imagine why, other state agencies don't have a problem with it.
I did contact, like I said, the Attorney General. I have been pushed around to at least 5 different offices at this point. I just got out of the hospital last Saturday. So I have been trying to recuperate. Nobody has since called me from the Attorney General's office. They will say you need to talk to this or you need to talk to that one. But then they don't give you names. They just kind of like transfer you into a person. And then you're supposed to wait. Nobody calls back. Again, I did reach out to our governor, Governor Ned Lamont, who is running and makes everything look so good. It's not good. This has been a 12-year problem. I've reached out to our mayor, who has blatantly just said, no responsibility, no liability. So sorry. I'm so sorry you're living like this. Do you know how many times I've heard sorry?
Yeah, I can only
Do you know
imagine.
how many times people say, oh, it's just so bad. I feel so sorry for you. But you're not in my situation. I could be homeless at any blink of an eye right now, along with the health issues I'm facing.
Mm, mm.
I have not just sat
I
here
pray.
and done nothing. I am
Yep.
the only one fighting because most of these are rented out. A lot of people let theirs go into foreclosure when this whole situation started back in 2012 up until I'll say 2011. Or some of them are renting them out, but they had somewhere to go.
But
Some went
that's
and
even a
did, you know,
problem too. Yeah, because if rents are like we said in the video, I mean the rental market right now is off the charts.
yes,
The average rent in Hamden is, $1,600 a month. Um, that's not the least
that's
bit
more than my
affordable,
mortgage.
right? Yeah, that's a lot more than most people in their mortgages. And so, you know, let's see what happens with CT Home. At least we can get that common charge matter cleared up. And
Right,
then, I mean, I'm just hoping that some developer or some, banker or someone can see this and find a way. Again, I think it. Again, I agree with you when you said that they said that the entire property should just be demolished, just and then rebuilt because you can't be displaced either.
right.
So can we talk again? Let's
Yes, we
see what
can.
happens with the CT home, my CT home, and let's see if we can get that common charge matter um, stabilized. If we can get that stabilized, that would be great.
Right.
Then, in the meantime, I mean, let's ask developers. Let's talk to, some banking people. I mean, obviously, we talk to all the politicians. They can't help. So let's find some other people outside of that, and let's see what we can do. Like I said, the politicians can't help. So let's just go to another level.
That's what you say, and I we both know better. We
Yeah,
both.
no, they're not going to help.
They're not going
It's
to, but everybody wants to be elected. Well, I'm constituent. My vote counts.
Yeah, I just think that, this is when community is going to have to kick in. Um, and so we're going to have to make sure we can get out to the community, the community at large, the whole state of
Right.
Connecticut community. And let's see who we can find. I'm sure there might be a developer or someone out there that could help and has a resource that we're not aware of,
Exactly.
that they can do this and keep it affordable so that the last thing we need to do is have your household that are still there homeless. Because if let's say tomorrow they roll in there tomorrow and say, all right, we're gonna have to change the locks and you've got 72 hours to remove your belongings. I mean, Reverend Brown, where in the world are you gonna go? Where are you going?
I have nowhere to go. I am considered currently a senior citizen. I am disabled. I have numerous health issues. And on top of all that, I'm fighting to not be homeless. Where am I going to go? I have nowhere to go.
Right. So we got to fight like hell to make sure that they don't, that the legal and the court and all that does not have a way to have you, out of there. So hopefully they'll be able to come up with the funds to help to get that stabilized. And then the
Right.
next item of business, we need to find some other money somewhere.
Yes.
Now, have
But
you, and another problem I want to say here in Connecticut
mhm.
is that all the waiting lists, so if you want to go get on a wait list somewhere, that's even a problem because the wait lists are closed. Like you couldn't go get on, a housing authority wait list, or, I mean, that could take years.
We had a condo that was condemned that's right next door to me. And her name
Hmm.
is Ms. Esdale. And they told her in one day that her condo was being condemned and she had to move immediately because the water was just running down the walls. And I felt so bad.
Yeah, where'd she go? Where did do I mean, not that it's
She
any of my
she
business.
ended up trying to get everything together. Her family, thank God, is a very involved family, and so they helped her as much as they could. Um, she ended up going into a senior citizen place, but there was no wait list. I mean, they say the town of Hamden may have helped her move, but so what? That's a minor thing compared to You brought this beautiful, and they were here from the very beginning when these were first built, her and her
Yeah.
sister. And I just felt so bad. I didn't know what to do for her because she's probably more than likely in her 80s
Hmm.
when this happened. And so we say we care. We worry about other places and other people. That's fine. But you got to take care of home first.
Hmm.
Home has a lot of problems that nobody wants to talk about. This is one. Or
Yeah.
somebody wants to give a view and going to tell me that Simsbury never happened. That's not true. It was on the news.
Right.
So when you hear these defenses, you have to laugh. But how can you stand for one of your own to be in a place where they have worked hard and paid money and still
In
pay
good faith.
and good faith
Yes.
and is
That's
ready
the
to probably
problem.
be put out the door, and everybody is saying it's not me? But let me tell you this. I used to run a homeless shelter, and I always told
Hmm.
people we're all one paycheck away from being homeless.
I,
It
I
can
tell
be
that.
you. It
Yes.
can be you.
I tell people all the time, don't mess around.
Mm,
Do not. Because we could all find our way out there on that little doorstep, and it's
yes,
cold
sir.
out there.
Yes, it is.
And again, like I said, we're 45 minutes away from a town with 18 billionaires in our state. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever that people should be living in these conditions who, in good faith, paid money, got mortgages, paid taxes. Taxes,
Yes.
don't
Still
forget
paying
that.
taxes.
Still paying taxes, high
Still paying
taxes,
mortgages.
the highest taxes, some of the highest taxes in the state of Connecticut. As
Yes.
a Hamden resident, you're paying the highest property taxes for your vehicles and
Yes.
your property, but we don't have, we can't help you.
My prayer, and I have prayed, and I pray for people that I knew that were going through this as well. Maybe not like my situation, but who has been at that doorstep. You know,
Hmm.
it worked out for Miss Esdale. It may not have worked out the way she wanted it to, but at least there was somewhere to go. When this all happened in the wintertime for her. So
80 years
um,
old.
I'm praying that somebody un- that God unhardens their heart and say this is not right, and we need to step in and help. Not just me, but I'm sure there's other situations. That's why I wanted this story out here. I wanted people to know that this story is real. They're your next door neighbors, they're your relatives, they're your children, they're your parents, whoever they may be. This story is real.
Yeah,
And it can
it
happen to
absolutely is.
any one of us.
It absolutely is. It's very real. And, a lot, most people get bailed out when these kind of things happen, but some people do not.
And that's the interesting part, how some people do get bailed out. I want to know, we're talking about civil rights and we're talking about fair housing and we're talking about all
Hmm.
these issues. And I don't get that political, but now I've been thrown into the political ring
Hmm.
because of my situation. And it makes me wonder, why am I not worthy of being bailed out? Because I
Right.
really should be.
I
I've
mean, we
never
could
gotten
all
over on the
speculate.
government.
Right? You never lived off the government. You never lived
No,
off of any of this. I mean, and not that there's anything wrong with that.
nothing
I mean,
wrong
because
with it.
that's what it's there for. You
Right.
paid, you worked, you paid
Yeah.
taxes. If you needed to get support back out of it, there's no shame in that. I tell people all the time, I've worked for 47, 46 years full time. If I need to go get some of those resources back that I paid into, don't give me a side eye.
Exactly. And I
If you
have
need to
lived
get
on
some
my
help, go get it.
I'm trying, but it seems like everybody's holding on to the purse strings.
Yeah,
Or everybody saying
But
the purse strings don't exist.
yeah, they exist. They absolutely
But
do.
I know because there's stories that are out here every day. And we're not just talking about one community. We're talking about communities that are not poor, that don't have people that look like us. Let's be real with this whole situation. Brown, black, red, yellow. We are the ones that have to fight the hardest and to try to stand up on both legs when one leg is about ready to give out.
Yeah.
You want our votes, but you don't want to do anything for us. And that's what's sad about this political system. It's truly broken.
But they want our votes, but they also want our money.
Exactly. They're
Don't
trying
let's
to
not
hammer
forget the
something about going
money,
up on taxes again. I'm sitting there like, are you kidding? You know,
right?
when I moved to Hamden, the Hamden taxes were so cheap. That's why I moved to Hamden versus New Haven. And then I got
In the
here and it seemed like
90s,
every
yeah.
time I turn around, taxes going up.
And you know, like that's what I always say. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're right about the money." No, but it is about the money. You know, politics is about money. It's about who
Mm-hmm.
controls the wealth and how does that wealth get distributed.
Exactly. And
Um,
who does it get distributed to?
and who does it get distributed to, and who's doing the distributing? This is
Exactly.
why, you know, electing people who are in these seats that understand our lived experience is very valuable, because if you've lived a life where you've had no health problems, you've had no, you know, you've lived a very comfortable life, you lived inside that bubble, a bubble of protection that I always talk about. If you live that type of life, you can't even fathom what you're going through right now. Chemotherapy treatments, worried, going to court over common charges. You know, like you said, when is the roof going to cave in? No one, they, you know, privileged folks, they don't know what that looks like. They'll
You're
say, I
right.
understand what you're going through. I understand what you're going through, but they don't. It's called being fearful every single day. You wake up
Every
every
day.
day and you're scared of what is today going to bring. What is
Yes.
today going to bring? Because guess what? Whatever today brings, Reverend Brown, I'm not ready. And you're not ready. Because again, I didn't inherit any wealth. I don't think you did either.
No.
And you know, that's what gives us that leg up, is to be able to get a jump start on this economy, on this economic system, by being able to inherit wealth. And if you didn't inherit any wealth, you still got help from your family and your friends
Exactly.
and spouses and things like that. So I mean, like it is a really scary road, and I can understand that for you, because I'm in that road myself, where you have to live your life off of your own steam, and you wake up every day and you're like, hope today's gonna be a good day.
I always pray, Rhonda, that whatever the day brings, let me be able to handle it to the best of my ability. And that's more scary than anything.
Yes.
I trust God. Yes, I do. He is the head of my life. Yes, He is. But I have human feelings.
Yes.
And people make decisions that are not God based. And so I'm sitting in this place where I've had people say, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do things for you. And they turn their backs.
Or they go silent. Those are my
Yeah,
favorite ones. When they go
I'm
silent.
going to help you out. Or they get upset behind something that is just really ridiculous, but this is not the time to be upset. I have been maybe not even totally friendly with people, but I always try to have a hand to lend. It may not be much of a hand, but every hand has something attached.
Mm-hmm.
But there are hands out here right now that can stop this whole thing. There
Yeah,
are hands
I
out
agree.
here right now that can make me whole. There are hands out here right now that can fix this. But all they're doing is throwing the rock and hiding their hand.
Amen. Well, you know what we're going to do, Reverend? We're going to take this link, this YouTube link, and I'm going to text it to you after this is over.
Okay.
And well, let's just send that everywhere.
Amen. I truly appreciate you. I appreciate your help. I appreciate you listening. There's so many people that have not listened.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I always, I don't, we all live in, like I said, that daily fear. Unless you've got inherited wealth and a whole bunch of a safety net of family members and whatnot, if you don't have any of that, life is a scary place.
It is. But you know what? I still have hope.
Yes, I do too. And I'm just so happy that your health is coming along and you're still, battling away and you're winning. And that's awesome.
That's grace. That's grace.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend. And so I'm going to end our call today, and then I'm going to text you this link, and I'm going to send it around to everybody and ask everybody, and I'm going to kind of send it to some of my developer friends. Well, not,
Yes.
they're not my friends, but they're just people I know. And let's see if they can come up with something, because they might be able to find another way to do something with some financing, or like I said, it needs to be torn down and rebuild, but we got to rebuild it right so the foundations don't crumble again.
Exactly.
So we need to do it the right way this time.
Yes.
All right. So well, you enjoy your evening. Try to get some rest. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you're out of the hospital and feeling better,
Thank you.
and feeling stronger. And I will be in touch, and let's talk again. Let's try to see if we can talk again in another couple weeks and see if we can get some traction, some support from somebody. It doesn't even have to be from here in Connecticut. It'd be somebody from the region.
I agree. I agree.
All right.
I agree. Thank you so much.
All right.
for
And
your
you
time.
enjoy your evening and get some rest.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Have a good evening.